Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Gracie Rosas. I am a transition manager here at PortPro. Today I'm going to walk you through how to set up your charge profiles and customer tariffs. To start, let's break down the 6 key areas of rate setup in PortPro. Charge codes, groups, equipment parameters, charge profile groups, and tariffs. Each of these work together to automate your rating process and reduce billing errors. So we're going to go through these step by step. The first thing we're going to do is head over to our gear icon, and from here we're going to go into accounting configuration and select chart codes. Now the first 8 have backend configurations which cannot be turned off, but you can always rename them to match your business terms. Now I have some examples already set up here. My charge name, I don't use base price, I use drayage, so I'm going to go ahead and relabel that now. Select that pencil, relabel or rename to drayage, make sure it's all caps, and then select save changes. Right below the first 8 there are additional industry standard codes that we already uploaded. If you do not use these, just simply turn them off. I'm going to go through some of these now. I do have hazmat, and I do use pre-pull, and see, I have some here storage. I want to make sure I turn that on. If there are additional codes that you do not see here and you do need them, do not label the ones we already uploaded. Go ahead and create new ones. You'll select here on the upper right hand side, add new charge code, enter that new label, and then select save charge code. Now we're going to head over to groups. Go back to settings, account setup, and now groups. PortPro's best practice is to group or create groups based on terminal markets such as LA Long Beach, New York, New Jersey, so on, whichever market you work out of. And this is going to make it easier for you to apply a single rate across multiple locations. You'll want to do the same for cities. We have the option to create customer groups, city groups, and postal zip codes. City settings has the same concept. If you have one rate that is the same in, say, in a county, you want to go ahead and group them together, and then you can apply that rate all across each city, rather than having to create individual profiles for each city that have the same rate. You'll do the same for postal zip codes. We have some counties that are large and have multiple zip codes, so you may have a different rate based on that group. You also probably have similar rates within that group of zip codes, so you can create different zones. To do either a customer group, city, or postal zip code, you'll always go to the upper right hand side here and create add postal zip code. In this example, add that group. So I'm going to say this one, LA County Zone 3. And your zip code. Oops, add or create. Create. And 60. All right, so now I have multiple zip codes, and I can add the zip code group. To edit that group, you'll go to the pencil, and then you can add additional zip codes, or you can remove them from that group. The concept will be the same in city settings. You can always add a city group, or edit your current city group. Again, select that pencil and say this one is going to be, I can't think of one right now. Capistrano. I believe I have Capistrano, San Juan Capistrano. I've added that new city, and I've added my new city, or added my new city to that group. All right, so now we're going to head over back to settings and we're going to go into equipment parameters. In equipment parameters, this is what's going to define or trigger automations based on commodity weight. By adding these, it will automatically either trigger an accessorial or it will trigger a special equipment that's going to be required in case your commodity is overweight. I have some examples already set up, so in order for you to take advantage of these automations, please make sure that you come in and add your parameters. I have added my container to automatically flag it as overweight. To do so, to create that automation in PortPro, you'll select the container size, the type, the field to change to overweight. My condition is going to be greater than, and my commodity weight, just the commodity weight, nothing else, is going to be 36,500 pounds. Now, this is my setup. Your operations may be a little different, so you can always make or update that commodity weight. So let's say, for example, in your operations, you consider a 20-foot overweight whenever your commodity weight is 37,000 pounds. Once you make that change, you'll make sure that you select Save Changes. Now, to flag a container to require a certain type of chassis, you'll do the same. I'm going to go ahead and create one for you now for a 40-foot overweight. So I'm going to go ahead and select Add 40, and I'm going to add a type of a high cube. I'm going to want that flag to require a specific type of chassis. In this case, I'm going to say a spread axle. And the condition is going to be greater than, and this is a high cube container, so we're going to leave it at 47,500 pounds. And select Save Changes. If you have different tiers based on those accessorials, so say you have your commodity weight is between 47,000 pounds and 48,000 pounds, or 47,000 pounds and 47,500 pounds. If your rate is 100 for that commodity weight, and you have a different rate if it's over 47,500 pounds, then you want to make sure that you have the conditions that fall in between those two weights. If you need additional assistance for that, just reach out to your implementation manager or customer success to make sure that these are rating or pulling in correctly. Now that we've done the setup, we are ready to dive into your tariffs. We're going to head over to the organizations menu, and we're going to look at tariffs. We have your load tariff, your charge profile, and your charge profile groups. Now, your charge profiles are your building blocks. These are not actually active until you apply them to a tariff. Your charge profile groups it's gonna help you identify or create a group of charges that you can apply them to a tariff. We're gonna go through these in a minute. So we're gonna go through each step one at a time. So the first thing we're going to do is show you an example on how to create a charge profile. To create a charge profile, we're going to go over here to the upper right hand side, and we're going to name that profile. The profile name is an internal name. This is going to be the best way for you to help manage your charges. Your customers are not going to see this. It'll be a name that you can easily find if you go into search and do your search options in your tariffs or your charge profiles. So let's start off by naming this one. I'm going to name it a city. We're going to create a base price or a drayage rate for a city. I'm going to add Buena Park. Buena Park, California. And from here, we're going to add the name drayage. This is going to be the charge name. And my description can be left blank. It's an optional box here for you to add that information. And my unit of measure. My unit of measure in this example is going to be based on a fixed rate. You also have the option to expire this rate in the profile. I usually don't use it, but if you have, if you do select an effective date, it will give you this option here, a start date and an end date. I'm going to show you later on if you want to update your profiles or your rates, or to do that if you don't want to expire them. Also, I will do the same thing in your tariffs. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And we do want to take advantage of all of the automations in PortPro, of course. So for that, we're going to select yes. So we do want to auto add this rate to my load whenever I create that load. For Buena Park, I'm going to add a rate of $550, which is pretty good right now. It's a pretty good rate. And then we want to add the condition. The condition is, how is PortPro going to know when to pull in that Buena Park rate? It's going to be based on when you create that load at the destination. I'm going to go ahead and add a rule. And the rule is going to be based on that city. So I'm going to go ahead and add my city and state option. And I'm going to type in Buena Park. Now that should populate here. I'm going to go ahead and select it and select add charge profile. So now we have our first rate, which is my Buena Park rate. You're also able to clone or make a copy of that profile. Now these are pretty simple. So I'm going to go ahead and select clone here on the upper right hand side. Now I have a copy. You can create multiple rates for Buena Park. Again, these rates are not active until you either add them to a load tariff. So for that, I can say, okay, well, I have two different rates for Buena Park. I have one for $550 and the other one's going to be $600. One thing to note, you cannot use the same profile name twice. Although this one is the same city and we want to identify it, I want to make sure that this is going to be for my new customers, so they don't have a special rate. Just kidding. So we have the $600 for my new customer rates, and we're going to remain with the same city. Update that charge profile. So now we have two different rates, one standard drayage rate, and then my new customer rates, which is $600. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the same Buena Park rate. I'm going to go ahead and show you. You also have other options. I can clone this profile and change the city. Say this one's going to be Jurupa Valley. Jurupa Valley, California, and this rate is going to be 100. And all I need to do is add my city here. I already have everything else, so I just clone it, change the cities, and update that record. So now I have Jurupa Valley and my other two profiles that I've created. I'm going to go ahead and show you that the group that we created. So this one's going to be more for my my Orange County city group. My Orange County city rates. Again, we have a drayage. My unit of measure is going to be fixed, and the rule. Oh, sorry, I forgot the charge. For Orange County, and that group that I'm going to select is going to be $825, and my rule options are going to be based on city groups. Remember earlier we made those groups, so we had created those groups, and here are my selections. So I'm going to go ahead and add that rate. So instead of me creating multiple profiles with the same rate, I can group those cities together in one group, and then that way will automate as long as that city is part of that group. And now we're going to go ahead and show you same process for a zip code. To do so, I'm going to go ahead and add new, and then this was going to be zip code. Zone 1, example, right? Again, it's an internal name. It's easy for me to find. We have the charge name. My rate is going to be, for zone 1, is going to be $4.25. This is my LA County. I'm going to go ahead and add my rule, and then I'm going to type in zip code groups. And here are the groups I created earlier. Again, instead of creating a gazillion profiles for a gazillion zip codes, I already grouped them together, and now I can apply that first zone. So that's as simple as creating a base price. Then we're going to get a little bit more not, a little bit more not complicated, but we can get a little bit more detailed as to how we want to calculate for certain rates. I'm going to show you how to add a chassis charge. This was going to be for a standard chassis. Oops. My standard chassis, internal label, my charge name, and then you have the description here. Just note there is some backend configuration that's going to pull in the dates that you are going to be charging your customers for the daily uses of your chassis. My unit of measure is going to be based on per day, and of course take advantage of the automation. Select add new charge. You have the option to add a minimum amount here. So if you're gonna charge your customer a minimum of 2 days up front, you can add it here. So if my daily rate is $50 per day, your minimum amount could be $100 up front, whether your customer utilizes that chassis 1 day or 2. I'm going to go ahead and leave that blank for now. I'm going to just add my daily rate of $45 per day. And how do I want to calculate this? I want to calculate it from the time I start to the time I end. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and select arrived at pick container. So the minute I pick up that container, the clock starts. And when do I want to stop it? When I return it. So this one is arrived at return load. We'll also want to add one more step. When you complete that move, when your driver selects complete, the clock stops. Completed. Because I have different type of chassis, I don't want this to apply everywhere. I just want this to apply whenever I'm using a standard chassis. So now I need to add a rule. How are we going to identify that? Select add rule, chassis type, and then we have here a standard. Remember, we name standard. Also, if you are using your own chassis and your rate is $45, you only want to apply it whenever you're using your own chassis. You can add an additional rule to identify that. So to identify it, we can add a rule saying that you're the chassis owner. So your chassis owner is going to be you. These are my chassis. So therefore, whenever I use my chassis, I'm going to charge $45 per day. And then here, add charge profile. You also have options to exclude yourself and include another chassis owner. So I'm going to go ahead and open that profile again. I'm going to go ahead and clone this one for now, and I'm going to say this one is by a pool provider. The pool provider is going to be track. So my charge is going to be different. My chassis charge is going to be for track only, and track charges me more. They charge me $47.50, or the charge is different, $47.50. And now I want to make sure that whenever the chassis owner is track, that it pulls in the $47.50 instead of the $45 that I charge. Okay. Now let's define your fuel surcharge. I'm going to go ahead and add a new fuel surcharge again. Upper right hand corner, add new. And then I'm going to add my fuel. And this one I'm going to add a 37%. My charge name is going to be fuel. And then my description I can leave blank. And I'm going to base this on a percentage. You have the option to add a effective date. You can select the current date. You can expire these from start when you want to start the charge, start date and end date. You can keep a log on whenever that changes for that specific profile if you're going to tie it to a customer. I'm going to leave it basic right now. It's going to apply only again when I apply it to the tariff. Remember, again, reminding you, these are the building blocks again. They're not active until we add them to your tariff. The percentage is going to be based on drayage, and it's going to be a manual add or manual percentage. And my fuel percentage is now 37%. And that's pretty simple. Now I can add the charge profile. I did skip one part. You can add additional charges. So anytime you move the container, so if you have like, say a pre-pull, you want to include that charge in that chart, that percentage in that charge, you can go ahead and add it here. I'm going to leave it simple as drayage and select add charge profile. I'm going to also show you what triggers certain automations. So I'm going to go ahead and add new, and I'm going to show you an overweight charge. So I'm going to say overweight, and my charge name is overweight. Description can be left blank, and you have your unit of measure as fixed. For this overweight, I charge $200. And the rule is what's going to trigger that is going to be whenever that container is flagged as overweight. So overweight is the condition, and I'm going to select yes and add profile. Oops, I already have one that says overweight. So I'm going to go ahead and add overweight too. Add charge profile. And the same thing for hazmats. So I'm going to go ahead and add new. I probably already have that one. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe and name it too. And then my charge name is hazmat, and it's going to also be a fixed price of $350. When I add that rule, if the load is hazmat, select add charge profile. And I'm going to go through some of these examples after we create our tariffs. And let's see. We have a few of them here already. Detention is a good one. So let's go ahead and add some detention. You have detention either at port or rail. You also have detention at customer's location. Now we're going to go ahead and create a detention profile. To do so, we're going to go back and select add new, and then this was going to be detention at port or rail. The charge name is going to be detention, and you have your unit of measure. Now your unit of measure can be based on your per hour, 15-minute, 30-minute, or 45-minute increments. So I'm going to go ahead and show you right now how we set up the unit of measure of per hour. From here, I'm going to go ahead and add new charge, and my hourly rate is $100. And how are we going to calculate this? We're going to calculate it based on either when the driver arrives to pick up that container at the port or rail, or we can also set it up whenever, if your market requires an appointment at the ports, depending on how you want to charge your customer. You want to set that up when that appointment time is required at that pickup location. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with arrived. I arrived at pick container, and I want to stop that charge whenever the driver is on the way out or he exits that pickup location. So en route to deliver load, or en route to drop. We have the templates in PortPro, or the automations that trigger either they're en route to deliver a load or they're en route to drop. It could be that the driver's pre-pulling that container, but we still want to calculate those charges. So we want to make sure that we capture that to drop container. So it could be a drop and hook, so it could be those two options. And now that we're ready to add the charge per hour, we'll go ahead and add charge profile. Now let's say you have a different type of detention. Let's say at your customer's location. We're going to call that one waiting time. So this is going to be your waiting time at customer. I'm going to go ahead and add that charge name and my unit of measure. I said earlier I was going to show you the difference between the per hour and per 15-minute, 30-minute, or 45-minute increments. If you're charging your customers based on those 15 minutes, just note that if it's anything below those 15 minutes, there won't be charges applied. And if it goes over by 1 minute, it will charge that whole amount that you're charging per minute, per 15-minute increments. For this example, I'm going to say it's going to be based on 15-minute increments, and I'm going to go ahead and add my waiting time. If I allow or include free units, we want to make sure that we include those here. So instead of saying one free unit, in this case, your free units are going to be 4, because we have four quarters per hour. So that would be 4 free units. And if your rate is $100, in this case, we're going to say each 15 minutes is $25. And the difference here on the calculation is going to be when if your driver has an appointment, you can say appointment, delivery appointment, or when the driver arrives. So if you're going to be including that rate only when the driver arrives at that location, you want to make sure that you have that delivery appointment in your route. That way it will calculate. If it's missing, it's not going to calculate that rate. If you want to charge the customer the minute that the driver drives in through the facility, you want to add the arrived at delivered load. It could be deliver load or deliver empty. It applies to both imports and exports. And you want to stop that charge whenever the driver leaves. So I'm just going to say en route to return load. Again, this is going to apply to both import and exports. And we don't always necessarily return the container the same day, so we want to make sure we also capture that. So we're going to add en route to drop container. And then we're going to go ahead and select add charge profile. Oops, waiting time at customer, and I need to add my 2. I already have that example here. So now, again, I can't use the same name. I have to have unique names on my charge profiles. So we built a few now. We can now go ahead and create some charge profile groups so you can get a better understanding of what that is and how they apply to the tariff. Charge profile groups here. I'm going to go ahead and select a group or create a new group. I'm going to create two groups. One for my base price because I want to keep them separate, and one for my accessorials. So we're going to start off with my drayage. I'm just going to call this one general. And I'm going to name it too because I'm not sure if I have one already. Drayage, and then I'm going to go ahead and select just my charge. My charge names are going to be filtered just by my drayage only. I want to include my Buena Park, Carson, Long Beach, let me see what else, La Habra, Norwalk, and other cities here. And I think I need this one. Okay, so I've selected just my base prices or my drayage prices for that group. Okay, now I am going to create a group just for my accessorials. Creating a group, again, go to the upper right hand side, and then I'm just gonna call this one, let's see, accessorials 2025. This is gonna be my accessorial label, and I'm going to select from the pick of my field profiles. I'm going to select that one. My waiting time, I have a few. I want to include this one for my customer. Actually, no, this is the one I just created. Waiting time at customer and detention at port or rail. And triaxles, I have a few here. Overweights, as you can see, I'm grouping them together. I have different rates, but I'm adding, I only have one pure congestion. My chassis, I have hundreds of these, not hundreds, but close to. I have the one for track and for myself. And let me see what else. My hazmat rates, 350. And what else do I have? My pre-pull, of course. And anything else? We'll leave this. I think it's storage. I'm missing storage. So, yep. So we have storage here. Now I'm ready to create that group. So now I have my general rates in one group. And I have my accessorials. Okay. To just view your groups, as you saw, you'll select the icon and you can view them. You can remove certain charges from that group. To edit, you'll select the pencil, and here's where you can add or remove, also mostly add additional profiles. Okay, again, charge profiles and charge profile groups are not active until you actually add them to a tariff. Now let's go ahead and start building the tariffs. Remember I mentioned earlier when we first started the webinar, I specified, or I mentioned that you can create tariffs based on customer specific. You can build customer specific tariffs, or you can build a general tariff. To add a load tariff, again, we'll go to the upper right hand side, and here's where you're going to add your matching conditions. We're going to start off by creating a basic general tariff. We're going to go ahead and select, this one's going to be general, so this is going to be for all customers. And you will be required to select an effective date. Say this one, August 1st. End date. You're gonna click on the year, and it's gonna jump over to a year from now, let's say, or 2 years. And then you will select the end date here. Make sure that you have your start date and end date. That's one of the troubleshoots that I do sometimes is like my rates are not pulling in. Why? Because your tariff is expired. So make sure you check that. That's one way of checking why your rates are not pulling in. Then you have your load type. Depending on again on the tariff itself, you can select your load type just for imports, exports, or road, or you can select all of them. Because this is a general tariff that can apply for all customers, we can go ahead and select import, export, and road. Again, depending on your operations. If you have branches enabled, so if you work out of different markets such as LA Long Beach, Houston, Savannah, Seattle, you want to select the branch if you have that enabled. I have it on my account. I just want to apply this one to my LA Long Beach branch. And then your customers. You have multiple. You might have 100. You may have 1,000 customers. So instead of you selecting each individual customer for all customer general rates, you're going to go ahead and select or add all customers. This is going to pull in whoever doesn't have a rate and defines the city in that tariff. And then you have your pickup location. Remember earlier also we selected to combine those terminals in one group. I'm going to go ahead and pull up that group now, LALB, which is my LA Long Beach group. And then my delivery location could be any destination that's included in those base rates. So I'm going to go ahead and also select all customers. So this is all customer, all destinations. And then the return location is not required. Anything in PortPro that has a red asterisk is required in order for you to save that or update that profile. Additional conditions, also here we don't need to do anything because we already defined those conditions in your profiles. I'm going to go ahead and select add new chart set, and I'm not building any profiles in the tariff here. This is what we did earlier. I already built those outside of the tariff. So I'm going to go ahead and select charge profiles. So we have the profiles I created, which I can go through these. I may have 1,000, right? So this is a lot for me to do. This is exactly why we created those groups, and I can just easily go in there and click on those two profiles that I just created, those groups I just created, and then simply apply them to my tariff. And now I can go ahead and select add load tariff, and now I have my general all customer tariffs. I'm going to go ahead and remove this one real quick. If you do have two general tariffs, you saw that I had two earlier, it does create a conflict also. So if I have the same rate for the same city, same conditions, your rate might not even pull in. Just make sure you keep your tariffs clean. And now I'm going to go ahead and show you what a customer specific tariff is or how it's created. So there is some hierarchy in the system where it's going to pull in the most matching conditions. So as you saw, for example, I have a all customers rate, all customers tariff is going to pull in that rate if it doesn't have a more specific definition. So to do so, I'm going to show you what that is like. I'm going to say this one is Knott's Berry Farm. Knott's Berry Farm, and effective date again, I'm going to select August 1st, and then my end date is going to be August 2026, and my load type is going to be imports and exports. My branch is going to be, again, my local branch here, and my customer, it's Knott's Berry Farm. My pickup location is going to be any of those ports that I created in that group. Basically the same one. and destination or location. If I have multiple destinations for that customer, I can also add all destinations. If I just have one, I can add just that specific destination. So as I mentioned, destination can be all customers or a specific destination. Knott's Berry Farm. And all of the additional conditions here are not required. And I can just go into add new chart sets, either select that profile. If I already have a Buena Park, this one's going to be 550. Or if I already created a group, I can apply that group. For this specific example, I'm going to add just that one city, and then I'm going to also apply. I want to include the same type of accessorials that I included in my general tariff, but now it's just going to pull in that special rate for that customer and that destination. So I have my accessorials, apply. To view them, I just open this up and then make sure that all of the rates are in there, and my profile here, 550, and now I can select create load tariff. Right, so now we have one for Knott's, and then we have the all customers profile. Let me make sure that I have that city Buena Park in here. Buena Park is here. Maybe I don't want the 550 here. Let me cancel out of here. I don't want to create a conflict. Remember I said that earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel and look at all of my customer rates. Oops, I don't want to do that. I'm going to select that pencil. No, I'm in the wrong one. Customer charge profiles. Okay, so we're going to look at my drayage. In Buena Park, I'm going to include that new customers rate instead. So I just made an update, right? I removed the Buena Park 550. I didn't want to create a conflict. So make sure that I only have one. I don't have the other one. So Knott's customer gets a 550 and all the other customers have the $600 rate. So let's go ahead and show you what that test would look like. I'm going to go ahead and create a load. Quick add new load. My customer name is Knott's Berry Farm. My pickup location is going to be any of the group, the terminal groups in LA Long Beach. I'm going to go ahead and select Everport. My delivery location is going to be Buena Park. Not Buena Park, Knott's Berry Farm. And now my branch, of course, I have LALB, and then my container number. And my route. We're going to leave the route alone, pick and run live unload. And now I'm going to go into my billing. And I have my 550 and my fuel. And if you want to see how that rate pulled in, you can always hover over. It states it's system generated charge. And I can click there and it will take me to that tariff and how which rate pulled in. I can also see here that the tariff that was used was Knott's. Again, it will take me to that tariff and it will show me that the rate was used here. And then any accessories that will apply. So if I have waiting time, detention, if I use the triaxle, all of that information or all of those charges will be automatically added if any of the criteria fits into that service that I'm providing my customer. So now let's go ahead and say this one's 550. If I want to create a load and I'm going to have a different build to, let's say this one's going to be for energy water, my pickup location is 8 p.m., my delivery location is Buena Park again. I think it's Buena Park. I think I only have one profile here. So I'm just going to add knots again. Remember, this is a different build to. My branch, and then container number. I will leave this alone. I'm going to go ahead and create that load. And if I go into billing, it's going to pull in that general, oops, I did that too fast. The general tariff for all customers. Apologize. Sensitive mouse today. So general tariff for all customers. And let's do one more thing. You can clone a charge profile and a tariff. To do so, we're going to go ahead and look at your load tariff. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the hyperlink. And on the bottom or left of the screen, you have the option to clone a load tariff. I've created a copy. This one is going to be, say, for a different customer. Say this one is for Santa Fe Springs Water. And I have my customer is going to be also my customer is Energy Water. Not Santa Fe Springs. Energy Water. I mean, my delivery location is going to be Santa Fe Springs. So I can add the city, or I can add a zip code or a specific warehouse. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and add the location is going to be Santa Fe Springs. I'm going to go ahead and remove that charge profile. And I'm going to show you that you can actually create a charge profile inside of the tariff itself. This is going to be, I'm going to call it Santa Fe rate. My base price is going to be based on fixed, and my rate is going to be $6.25. And again, how do we want to calculate that rate? It's going to be based on the city. And I'm going to type in Santa Fe Springs. And now I can go ahead and select Add Charge Profile and Update Tariff. Now the difference between creating that charge profile inside of that tariff is I won't be able to make an update to that rate unless I go into the tariff itself, select that pencil, and then update that rate to say $6.30. That's one way. Select update load tariff. If I want to update a charge profile, I can simply select the checkbox. So I'm going to start off by selecting my charge name, select the city, and on the bottom of the screen you'll select the option to adjust rates. You can adjust the rate by either a flat amount or percentage, and here you have the unit of measure per unit amount. I mean, if it's a flat amount of $1, I can adjust that rate by $1, and now I have that rate as $5.51. You can also adjust the rates if you're minimizing or you're reducing your rates. You can select again adjust rates option, and I'm going to reduce it by $1. Use the negative sign, and I can adjust the rate here. Once I adjust the rate here on the profiles, if it's part of either a group or it's already attached to the tariff, it's going to automatically update that rate. Okay, you can also bulk update charges. So if you want to do a multi update on multiple cities, you can go ahead and click on multiple profiles and make those updates. So you can adjust the rate by the flat amount, or again by percentage. Say this one is $2. I go ahead and adjust rates, and now I've made a $2 change per for all of those profiles all in bulk all at once. We have one more way of, there's multiple ways. I have another example today of a tariff. Sometimes we have matching conditions that we want to automate. So we have the option to create a tariff based on matching conditions. The difference here is going to be, as you see here, the basic tariff is going to look or ask for you to identify the name, the start date, end date, the load type, the customer, and pickup location, right? And delivery location. The difference is when I switch over to advanced route matching, the system's not going to look for anything else other than the actual route. So you want to make sure that if you use the advanced matching option, that you that you're following the exact route. Otherwise, that rate's not going to populate. And also, you can see here the load matching conditions change. We're only looking for the tariff name, the load type, the customer, effective, and end date. Again, if you have branches enabled, of course, you have that that requirement as well. But we're not looking for pickup, delivery, or anything like that. We're only looking at that information here that's required with the asterisks. Good example that when I like to set these up are the one ways, because we don't require a delivery. We just require a pickup and return, and we have a flat rate. So let's go ahead and test that now. We have, let's say the name is going to be Giscal. My load types are going to be just for my imports, and then my customer is going to be Giscal. I'm going to invoice, and I have again my start date and my end date. My branch, and then no additional conditions. And my one way is going to be a pickup and return. And here's where I'm going to add my charge. I'm going to go ahead and do an all-in rate, where my charge item is going to be, say all in, one way. All in rate one way. My charge name is going to be drayage, and let's do this one based on per mile. I'm going to charge them a, say, $5 per mile amount, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my rule. Arrived at pickup container, and then to arrived at return. So pickup, it's gonna calculate it from arrived to return. Update, and then now I'm gonna go ahead and create load tariff. And as you can see, the tariff is going to just look for the customer. It's not going to look for a pickup location or a delivery location. And my base price is $5. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and test your advanced routing tariff. To do so, we're going to go ahead and select quick add new load. My customer is Giscal. With my special rate, my special routing, we have my pickup location is going to be APM, And my delivery location is going to be, oh, before I do that, we have to select the one-way option. My return location is going to be BNSF. And we're going to go a long way. We're going to go to Houston. I'm also going to select the branch and the container number. And then again, my special route or my advanced route is one way. Create load. And now we're going to go to billing. So as you can see, the units are 1,575 miles, up $5 per unit. And then I have my price. Okay, I think we've gone through quite a few of the profiles, the groups, some tariffs. I'm going to end it with, I hope this demonstration helped you understand a little bit better on how we set up your rates and automations in PortPro. Thank you again, everyone, for listening to me for close to an hour. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.